If you want talk, games, and fun all rolled into one, well, you've come to the right place. This is The Game Show, where host Bradley Clarke and his special guests talk about the world of television game and competition shows. But Bradley's guests aren't here to just talk. They came to play a game as well. What will today's topic be? What game does Bradley have planned? There's only one way to find out.
It's time to start the show.
You heard the man. Welcome to The Game Show. And here's your host, the Bradster himself, Bradley Clarke.
What is up, everybody? As my announcer, Austin Angelo, just said, I am Bradley Clarke, and welcome to another episode of The Game Show, the talk show devoted to the world of television game and competition shows. Now, if you're an avid listener of The Game Show, you've heard a couple of former Survivor castaways grace the airwaves. First, there was Survivor supervillain and one of the greatest players of all time, Russell Hantz. And then there was Survivor fan-turned-favorite, who's famous for giving up his individual immunity necklace on Survivor Micronesia, Eric Reichenbach. Today, a third Survivor castaway will have the distinction of being my special guest on an episode of The Game Show. And speaking of third, this castaway has played the game on 3 occasions. He is one of the most entertaining and charismatic castaways to ever take on the 39-day journey, and has some of the most memorable quotes and speeches in the show's history. And here's just one of my favorite dialogues of his from the final tribal council of Survivor Philippines.
Guys, hi. Congratulations. Obviously, we all wish we were sitting there. As Jeff says, is there some vestige of fury? Of course there is. How can there help but be? We've all given our hearts and souls to this game, some of us a tremendous amount of heart and soul, and to see anyone but ourselves sitting there looking at anyone else is painful. That said, you have my heartfelt congratulations. I know what's going on tonight is hard. Smart people asking tough questions. I will hope to continue that tradition. Scoopin'. You're sitting here telling us how your name kept coming up and how you were threatened all the time. I don't think your name, and you guys will correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think your name has been written down one time in this entire game. I have the proud distinction of having my name written down, I believe, 15 times. Which may be a record. No, I think Philip Shepard has more times, but I may have close to a record. 15 times my name was written down. So I know that you're sitting here saying that there was this big target on your back, but however you scrambled or dissembled, backstabbed and flip-flopped, you were able to avoid having your name written down even once. You may find that you have a perfect record even after tonight.
You have got to love the natural humor he brought to the game of Survivor, and I hope he brings a lot of his natural humor to this episode of The Game Show because it is so much fun to hear. He placed 7th on Survivor Cook Islands, returned as a favorite on Survivor Micronesia Fans vs. Favorites, where he unfortunately was medically evacuated, and placed 7th again on Survivor Philippines. You know he's one of Survivor host Jeff Probst's favorite castaways because on the show, Jeff calls him by his last name. Joining me on the line is one of my favorite Survivor castaways as well, the always passionate Jonathan Penner. Hey Penner, how's it going?
It's fantastic. I wish I could be as passionate as that introduction was.
Well, you're always passionate on Survivor, and I truly mean it that you are one of my favorite castaways.
Well, I'd love to play the game and play it as hard as I can. You know, life is short, and when you're out there, you got to make as much of it as you can.
That's absolutely right, and I love that you're so captivating on the air.
I'll put an end to that in the next hour.
I'm sure you'll be just as captivating on the game show as you were on Cook Islands, Micronesia, and Philippines.
Let the audience decide. If they're still awake after this, then I guess you're right.
Well, I'm so glad to have you on the show, and we're going to take a trip down memory lane. We're going to travel through all 3 of your Survivor seasons, and then later on, I have planned a game for you to play. It's specially planned just for you, and has something to do with castaways who have played the game 3 times, which I know you've had a little experience with that.
Yes. I can't wait to be roasted in your game.
You're not going to be roasted. You're going to do just fine. So I want to start off by asking you, when did your fascination for Survivor first begin, and when did you first say to yourself, I should audition for the show?
I first really watched Survivor the season before, Survivor Panama. Obviously everybody was aware of Survivor, but I never got into it. I think the reason that Survivor is still as popular as it is the entire family can watch it. So that's how we got involved. My kids were 10, 9, and 6, something like that. So we were watching and enjoying it. And then I was at a birthday party for a friend of mine, and somebody said, "Oh, somebody wants to meet you." I said, "Sure, I'd love to meet anybody." And it was Lynn Stillman, the casting director for Survivor and Amazing Race. So she said, "Would you and your wife be interested in either of those shows?" Actually, she was interested in Race. And we said, yeah, of course, it'd be fun. And then we found out, because we had these 2 young kids, that you'd have to be out of touch for 45 days or so. And that was too much for us as young parents. So I said, we can't do Amazing Race, but I would be interested in Survivor. And she was like, really? And I was, yeah, it would be incredible to be Robinson Crusoe. It's a fantastic show. Why not? And she said, well, because you're going to be out on this island with people who want to play Survivor. They want to be like on TV. And I said, well, I've been on TV. I'm not that interested in that part of it. I'd be more interested in challenging myself and having a great time. So I said to her that I had been on a CBS show as an actor, a show called Grapevine, which was created by David Frankel, who did The Devil Wears Prada, and Marley and Me as a film director. He's a fabulous director.
A naughty new comedy comes to CBS.
It's about love. It's about sex. It's about lust. Sex.
Grapevine. It's about the wildest thing you've ever seen.
What are you doing with the camera?
Beautiful people who tell all.
I made a lot of noise in bed.
And tell on each other.
She loved it.
Grapevine, this summer on CBS.
We never even made it to the bedroom.
And I had written shows. I'd written a pilot for them about the UN. And they said, I don't know if I can do this. But I just said, I'll say yes as long as they do. And they just kept saying yes. So I found myself on the island.
Well, I'm glad you said yes, so that I was able to watch you first on Survivor Cook Islands. Now, Cook Islands was very...
How old were you, 2?
Well, let's see. Cook Islands came out in 2006, so I was 9 years old.
9 years old. So you're about the same age as my kid. My son is 22. How old are you?
I'm 21.
That's a great age to get hooked on Survivor.
Right, yeah. And, it's fascinating how many kids still watch this show because their parents have been watching since the summer of 2000.
Well, a lot of kids would reject it out of hand. If that's something my parents think is cool, I absolutely don't want to watch it. But then the rest of the cool kids actually say, I loved watching that with my parents, and it's the best show. It's a brilliant show and a brilliant game.
Absolutely. And one of the reasons why Survivor is such a brilliant show is the casting and some of the tribe-dividing themes, whether it be, white collar, blue collar, no collar, brain, brawn, beauty. Cook Islands was very unique. I consider it the first theme-based season, if you don't include men versus women or the age group, because they divided the tribes based on Asian American, Caucasian, Latino, and African American. So when you first heard, I'm presuming before you got on the Windjammer and you set sail on the Pacific Ocean, when they divided you into the tribes and you realized that it was based on ethnicity, what was your first thought on that?
I didn't know, per se. You get there and they kind of segregate you, as it were. They split us up 10 and 10 and mixed it all up. And, we were looking at each other trying to figure out what was going on. There were more Asian Americans. There were more African Americans than usual. But I don't think any of us knew for sure or could quite believe for sure that they were going to play racial Survivor. And then, we got on the yacht and found ourselves playing racial Survivor. I know that a lot of folks, certainly Yul, who won, and Becky, were very, very cognizant of, we have to represent. And we don't want to place our ethnicity in any kind of bad light. They were very turned off by this guy, Cowboy, who they felt put Asian Americans in a poor light of some kind. And I guess I was conscious of trying not to be racist, which I'm not, but oh crap, I'm the old white guy. Maybe they were smart enough to cast a relatively liberal old white guy, but I guess they could have cast a racist white guy, and that really would have heated things up. And then the game just played out, and, if you remember, 2 of the top 3 were this fantastic Korean young, not couple, but 2 folks who started working together on day 1, recognized each other in a cultural way, had a relationship that they both recognized in Korean culture, this kind of big brother relationship. They trusted each other, and they basically ran the board.
The winner of Survivor Cook Islands.
I never had anybody that I really trusted. The one person that I thought I trusted fell in love with a dope. She was much more concerned with him.
I'm presuming you're talking about Candace and Adam.
Adam wants to be the big, strong man and take care of Candace. She's like a sweet little girl, and they're snuggling, and, you know, I don't know. Romance is in the air.
Well, a kiss is nice. Maybe if it were love, he'd have given you the immunity necklace. Candace, tribe has spoken.
Still smiling, guys. Have fun. Love ya.
Happy to go.
Yeah, Candace and Adam. I don't know. Somehow I was portrayed or made myself seem as an untrustworthy person. Now, it's true that I blew up the whole game, but only because I had no chance of winning and wanted the nice people to win. But as a trustworthy ally, I would have been a great person to work with. I'm a very trustworthy person. But nobody wanted to actually ally with me, so boo-hoo, I had to blow everybody up.
I'm presuming you're referring to the mutiny situation.
No, I wasn't as much referring to that as when I flipped back towards Yul and Becky and Ozzy and Sundra. The mutiny, we all thought that more people would mutiny. In fact, I had no intention of mutinying, but the person who the day before I thought I had allied myself with stepped off the mat. You know, for those of you who didn't see it, there was a certain point in the game when there were 6 against 6, and we were given like 10 seconds to change. You can change tribes right now. Starting now, you have 10 seconds to decide. So nobody moved until Candace did, my ally, and suddenly it was 7-5. And I said, oh, crap, I better get on the winning side with my ally. And I stepped off, followed her. Suddenly it was 8-4, which you'd think would give you the numbers. But, of course, it didn't. And I realized, oh, crap, I just put myself on the absolute bottom of a tribe of 8 instead of where I had been, which was close to the top of a tribe of 6, or at least I was 3rd or 4th in the tribe of 6.
Okay, before we get to today's reward challenge, we're going to do something a little different. I'm offering each of you the opportunity to mutiny and join the other tribe.
Man. Oh, my God.
You have 10 seconds to decide whether or not you want to change things up and maybe change your fate in this game. If you want to move, step off your mat and join the other tribe. Clock is ticking. 5, 4, 3, 2. Candace is mutinying. 1. Jonathan mutinies at the last second. That is it. Jonathan, Candace, you are I2 no more. Join Rarotonga. Hey.
Hi. Welcome back.
Candace, you're now a member of Raro. Jonathan, member of Raro.
I know.
So, I2, you just had 2 members of your tribe mutiny. Yul, you don't look happy.
No, I'm stunned. I thought we had a pretty good game plan, and I'm very surprised.
Ozzy, what's your reaction?
It doesn't really surprise me. They don't have the backbone to stick with their tribe, and that's fine. I'm sure that they're going to get their fate sooner or later.
Anyway, it was an incredibly stupid thing to do. I spent the rest of the game paying for that mistake.
Do you still think back to that moment when you mutiny and decided to step off the mat and said, if I would have stuck with Becky, Yul, Sundra, and Ozzy, I may have gone further in the game?
Yeah. I mean, the much, much bigger regret in my 3rd season. But yeah, I regret it, but it seemed like the right thing to do. As I say, I had no allies. The closest thing I had was Candace, and I followed her.
Now, there's a pet peeve I have. Well, there's a few pet peeves I have with Survivor, but one of them is that, on the Heroes versus Villains cast assessment, Jeff Probst, Candace was brought back on the Heroes tribe. They saw her mutiny as very heroic. And Jeff Probst said during the cast assessment that Candace mutinied, no one had ever done it after her, and that's why she's a hero and whatnot. Well, technically, you did it after Candace, so I just want to set the record straight that Jonathan Penner is technically the last person to mutiny on Survivor.
Yes, thank you.
Candace, I think, is a surprise to a lot of people.
I think most people probably don't even know who I am.
Mutiny is a big thing. Nobody had ever done it before Candace, and nobody had ever done it since. And it was, if you don't like the tribe you're on, step off the mat. She stepped off the mat, and the reason being was, I belong on that tribe. That's who I want to win with. That's who I'm loyal to. They need me. We saw that as heroic. A lot of people see a mutiny as villainous. In this case, we didn't.
Just one more record for my book.
I just wanted to make sure that everyone does know that, for years I've been trying to communicate to Jeff telepathically saying, you do realize that Jonathan Penner was the last person to mutiny. Candace was first.
Well, I'm going to write to him right now, and I'm going to...
That'll be the day.
Well, I've been in touch with Jeff. He's very nice, and we certainly have a nice relationship, but he would consider it. But he would say, Penner, give it up. Why the hell are you talking about that? Say, I don't know, because my buddy on the radio said that I should bug you for it.
That's right. I know so much about Survivor, and that's one of the things that drives me crazy. Like that little thing.
Right. And he was justifying why the hell they put Candace on the hero tribe. So in writing, we have a phrase, which is called you hang a lantern on it. That is, if you've got something that kind of doesn't make any sense, instead of pretending it's not there, you hang a giant lantern on it. So you say what most of America would think of as a villainous thing to do, stepping off the mat and mutinying, you say that was a heroic thing to do. The thing that you all think was her shameful thing is in fact the very reason we're calling her a hero, and then you can get past it and you can essentially justify anything in the world that way. So I think they were like, how the hell are we going to justify calling her a hero? We'll do it by just saying the villainous thing she did was heroic, and that's all we have to do.
Now, say that you were casted on Heroes versus Villains, because I know that you were in talks, I believe, of getting on that season. Do you think your mutiny would have been classified as heroic as well, or villainous?
I guess they would have had a real problem, because I think they were going to look at me as a villain. They have a core group that they're casting. We know that this are the heroes, and this are the villains, and who the hell else are we going to cast, because we can't do a show with 6 or 10 people. So, if Parvati's this, then she's got to be that, because we can't have the two of them on the same tribe again, or whatever their justification was. So they would have said something entirely different. Or maybe, thanks to Candace, that's why I didn't get to play that season. I don't know.
Would you want to see the mutiny back on Survivor anytime soon?
Look, there's only two ways that the mutiny really works. If nobody does it, which means it doesn't work, or if everybody does it, and then it doesn't work. That's called a merge. So I don't think they're going to do it, because the only time they ever did it, it was a disaster for the two people who played the game.
Now it seems like it's very robotic when they do all the tribe swaps. Drop your buffs. We're going to switch tribes 300 times a season. And what bothers me, another one of my pet peeves, is that now everything is basically so random. Jeff literally reveals wrapped packages of buffs, and based on where production puts you on the mat, you get to draw a buff. Which really bothers me. Like, I loved it when, on Micronesia, where you all picked a rock, and then it was schoolyard pick.
Drop your buffs. We are switching tribes.
Oh my God!
There are 7 white stones and 1 colored stone. 1 is purple, 1 is orange. For this tribe, if you grab purple, you will be a captain. Please don't look. Fans, 1 orange stone. If you grab orange, you're the captain. Don't look. All right, everybody put your palms up. 3, 2, 1, reveal. Natalie, Ozzy, 2 captains. Take your spot over here.
Come on, buddy.
Ozzy is the captain for the new Malakal. Natalie, captain for the new Irai tribe. You can choose man or woman, but you must choose somebody from the opposite tribe. So you are choosing a favorite.
James.
James joins Natalie, the first choice in the schoolyard pick. Say hello to your new tribe mate.
That's more exciting to me and different than just, all right, we're going to switch tribes, pick a random buff, yay.
The thing is that they've been so brilliant about keeping this show alive, if not fresh, where they've realized at a certain point, the audience is not watching for the locale. When the show started, they went to Australia. They would go to the middle of nowhere with no water in Africa. They thought it was like a travel show or a social experiment kind of show, which I guess that part of it's still true. But they've realized now that the audience doesn't care if they go back to the same beach in Fiji. They've been shooting this beach now for a couple of years. It's the social part of the game and the game part of the show that are what is now interesting on Survivor. Nobody cares if they're looking at the beach in Fiji versus the beach in the Cook Islands. People don't know the difference. The underwater shots seem to be the same. The crashing surf and the guy swimming around with his snorkel, that's become transitional footage, not what the show is about. How the hell are you going to survive? The audience knows that you're going to survive unless some freak accident blows at your knee or breaks your back in a boat trip or whatever the hell's going to happen. And that can happen anywhere. It's not interesting where they are.
So are you a fan of just staying at the same beach and just putting in all these themes?
Well, from a production standpoint, I guess it makes sense to them. It's easier. It's less expensive, frankly. They used to have a traveling Navy, basically, where they would have to bring, their own generators, their own bulldozers, their own wiring just to get electricity out. Footage to get back to L.A. was a massive deal. Of course, that was way back when they actually had videotapes that they were filming on, which is how it was on the Cook Islands. But I think the audience who watches Survivor watches for the characters, the social life, and now they are literally hiding hidden immunity idols under a rock, under a bush. It's much easier to find, and there are many, many, many more of them. So this is to your point of the randomness of it and how much luck is involved. Okay, go out in the woods, and every day there's going to be something to find. And that's exciting footage to them, more exciting than people sitting and shivering in a hut, which used to be interesting because it was different for TV.
Right.
Now it's not.
It's funny, when I watch the seasons now, I always think back to some of the players that played around your time when the immunity idol was starting to be introduced into the game. And your first season, Cook Islands, it was more like what they now call the super idol, where you can use it after the vote, and there was only one, and that was basically the power of the whole game. And then in Micronesia, where they did, Exile Island, and there were so many clues, you had to find the clues, you had to swim across islands, and that to me was very interesting. And then even with Philippines, where you found the idol sort of a la Survivor China, where it was in plain sight, and, it was on the rice canister. That excites me. The clues to the idol, or the clue to the idol that's right in front of your face and everyone is at camp and you want them to get away so you can pry it off.
The downside of this constant rain is the idol is somewhere right in our camp, and I can't get them out of the shelter. I need 10 minutes just so I can dig around and get this damn idol. It's there. It's waiting for me. Can't get to it. Where the hell's this damn idol?
Come on, man.
Well, plan will work regardless how wet it is. I'll go with you.
I've never had an immunity idol. I've never had individual immunity at all. This is a key to the game. I gotta find this thing before they get back to camp. And I'm saying, just stay calm. Who knows how long you have.
What are we looking for?
My lens washed out. I was looking for my glasses. I couldn't find them.
Did you find them?
Yeah. It was so wet, I looked up. I was going like, and my lens washed right out.
Dawson comes into camp, so I made up this insane story. I lost my glasses. I had to go under to get them because the rain washed my contact lens out, which was ridiculous. Fatuous lie. It's gotta be there. It's gotta be in the camp, under my nose. I'm getting more and more frustrated. And then a light bulb goes off. If I had opened the clue, where the clue was, on the top of the rice, there's a little wooden bull with a very prominent nose. For the first time in 3 tries, I have the hidden immunity idol. It's fantastic.
The idol is right under your nose.
You have the hidden immunity idol, and you feel that you can dance forever. Nothing can touch you. Now, of course, that's not true. I know a lot of guys who thought, I'm going to dance all the way to the million, and they got blindsided. those are mistakes that, well, listen, that's a mistake that I'm not going to make, I hope. Yeah.
I think that is so
It was crazy.
Right. I think that's so much more exciting than just, oh, look, there's a purple twine by that rock. Look, it's an idol.
Let me ask you this then. Why do you still watch the show, besides because you have a radio show?
I still watch
What is it exciting for you?
Well, to be honest, to me, I still watch the show for the historian aspect so I can see, oh, look, they're doing that again. Oh, look how they're doing it this season. Whoop-de-doo. That entices me. So basically, I still watch Survivor for the production elements so I can make my own opinions on them as a super fan instead of just watching for the castaway characters and to see who actually wins.
Right. Do you think the characters have gotten more or less interesting over time?
To be honest, I think a little less, and I think it could be because a lot of them are being past season stereotyped in a way. Like, you know, you can compare this season's Cochran, you can compare this season's Russell, you can compare this season's whoever. And I think that's why they have to put in all of these idols and all these advantages, because they want them to not only grow out of that stereotype, but to identify them through these advantages and give them all these things. Look at this brand new villain that we're creating. Look at this brand new hero that we're creating. And not just, this is Cochran 3.0 or this is Russell 4.0, something like that.
Well, that's interesting to see who, I mean, to me, it's always interesting who emerges. And it's funny, I had lunch with Lynn Spillman a week or two ago. I hadn't seen her in a long time, but we went out for lunch. And she said, well, a lot of the folks who win are not the most interesting characters and do not get brought back because they play these very clean, kind of heroic but uninteresting games where they make no mistakes, but they also make no big moves. And they're able to kind of glide through, as I guess they kind of glide through life and have a happy, nice life and don't really make for particularly fascinating TV. On the other hand, you need those people because you need to have a likable winner at the end of the game, or they feel they do. So they cast all these characters who are almost invariably going to blow themselves up or shoot themselves in the foot, as I did every single time I played. Not that I'm that fascinating, but I mean, I never played a winner's game. And the winners of the seasons that I played, Yul and Denise, were wonderful, not particularly edgy characters.
The winner of Survivor Philippines, Denise.
Well, that's interesting because, you know, there's always been talks for the last few years about an all-winners season, and Jeff has said he's open to it, but a lot of the winners either don't want to come back or they're not as likable as some of the other winners.
I'm open to an all-winners season. The question is, we have to get enough women winners that want to play again, because we have almost an equal number of men and women, but it's interesting that a lot of the women are the ones that said, you know what, I've been there, done that, don't need it. Right. The guys are like, no, I need to do it again.
It's an adrenaline fix.
Yeah, and the women are the smarter ones going, I came in, I got my million, and I've got my life. Yeah. You go play your silly game again.
Walking away as a winner. I would be more on that team too.
Exactly, walking away as a winner.
Yeah.
So if and when we reach that point, I think it'd be really fun.
Yeah.
The other truth about an all-winner season is you have to have 18 or 20 great winners. And not all of our winners are memorable. No. Unfortunately.
It's true.
I mean, look, the problem is if you've won, you made it all the way through without getting blown up. If you come back, only one of you is going to do that again. And that was Sandra. Sandra was the only person ever to win twice, deservedly so.
The winner of Survivor Pro Life. The winner of Survivor Heroes vs. Villains. Sandra.
Third time she played, they blew her up as quick as they could.
Sixth person voted out. Sandra. That's 4, that's enough. Need to bring me your torch.
I wish you guys luck. It's okay, you guys knock it out.
Sandra, for the first time in 94 days of Survivor, the tribe has spoken.
Don't do it, Jeff. Don't do it. Don't do it, Jeff. Good luck.
The queen. Time for you to go.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, Sandra.
Bye, Sandra.
But an all-winner season is going to be hard because, you know, you're like, you won? You're the first out. You played a suck game. And that makes their whole survivor experience stink because instead of having won, they lost big time the second time they played, So I guess for some of them, they'd come back and play, but I don't think they're going to get an all-winner season. I'm not sure they're going to be able to muster the people that it would take to even mount it.
If you won, would you come back for a winter season? Like, say Cook Islands, you won, and then decide to do season...
I don't know, pal. I mean, I didn't win, so I got to come back. Look, Yul won. They didn't bring him back.
Very true.
Denise won. They haven't brought her back. Whereas I lost every damn time, and they keep bringing me back.
That's
so,
true.
Probably had I won, they'd have no interest in bringing me back.
Very true. So let's talk about Micronesia, because to me, Micronesia is one of my top 5 seasons of all time, based on people, based on the elements, and based on gameplay. And I want to ask you, when you saw the 10 people returning, you plus 9 others, were you excited to see Ozzy and Parvati once again?
Yeah, I was excited to see Ozzy because I felt that I could have worked with Ozzy. And the truth is I should have worked with Parvati. Well, I did the complete opposite. I targeted Parvati from the minute I got on the island. I said, this person can win the game. We need to get rid of her immediately. And she was going to be the first one out, except Johnny, that whole crazy story where he needed his booze and his cigarettes, and he quit the game.
Right now, I could go either way and totally change the game in 2 different directions. 2 groups I'm playing are the 4 of Yowman, Eliza, Jonathan, Amy.
We all know what we're doing tonight, right? Poverty, right?
And then you have the alliance of Ozzy, James, Parvati, and Amanda. They're after Eliza, so we'll see. People don't understand what crazy thing you're gonna do. I'm like, how about the crazy thing is I don't do anything.
Yeah.
I just want to see my girlfriend. That's it. So,
are you miss her really bad?
Yeah. She's 7 months pregnant. I don't know anything. I think about my girlfriend and my upcoming little girl every single second out here. And I want to win this game for them. I can't stop thinking that maybe there's something wrong with my little girl. And I'll tell you what, $1 million is great. But having a healthy little girl, that's the biggest prize I can win right now. I want to see my girl and go. I'm kind of already over this, so I feel leaning towards asking you guys. What do you think?
That you'll ruin our whole plan.
Jonathan, Fair Play has a reputation of pulling scams and lying. Just to be clear, what is he doing?
I think he's asking us to vote for him. I think, somebody has to go home. Somebody wants to go home, and he's going to go home.
So it's a quit.
This is not a quit.
Forgive my skepticism, but last time you cried over a dead grandma who conveniently was at home watching on TV.
I understand.
First person voted out as Survivor fans versus favorites, Johnny Fairplay. That's 6, that's enough. Need to grab your torch. Johnny Fairplay, the tribe has spoken. I'm gonna go.
Can I get a hug?
You be nice to those guys.
Bye, guys.
And that gave her enough time to scramble, realize that she had a huge target on her back, at least in my eyes, and she pulled in Sari and she pulled Amanda. Amanda was already going to work with her. James went with Amanda, and she certainly wrapped him around her finger very successfully. Got Sari to flip from working with me and Yowman to going with her and Ozzy, and boom, my game was screwed. But I got injured and wound up leaving the game.
And still, that scene where you're on the forest ground and the survivor medic is tending to your leg, it was one of the most heartbreaking moments I've seen on the show.
Penner, medical's going to take a look at that knee.
Do you have any pain in your groin at all up in here? Is it a bit tender in here?
Yeah, a little bit, but not terrible.
See, Jonathan, there's a big abscess in there, a big collection of pus. This is going to need intravenous antibiotics. It probably needs surgical washout. It's not going to be a quick fix.
Oh, God bless it.
I'm not quitting. You're
I can
telling
only
me...
recommend that you get treatment in hospital for the sake of your knee. Antibiotics are not working at this stage. It's showing signs of spreading around your body. It's moved up into your lymph nodes. It can make you really, really sick, okay? An infection that goes into your bloodstream is potentially fatal.
Ah, God.
No way.
So this isn't even a case of another afternoon, I'll come check you later today.
I can only recommend, for the sake of his leg and his life, that he leaves the game now. He needs hospital treatment. It's not going to get better. It will just get worse.
What can you do?
I know. Okay, let's go. Go to the hospital. Sorry, guys. Bad luck on Johnny. And I had this game, too. I saw the daylight.
All right, let's let you say goodbye to your tribe. We'll get you on a boat, get you fixed up.
You have to go. I'm sorry, guys.
I'm sorry.
It was you. You have to go. You put everything.
I couldn't have done anything else. And they did everything they could do. And they got to take me to the hospital like that. And I loved hanging out with all you guys.
We'll miss you.
All right.
Jonathan, we gotta take care of you. We need you. We need you. I need you.
I'm sorry.
I really hate to see him go. He was like a pillar of strength around camp, and so yeah, I'm sad to see him go. I only knew him for like 3 days, but what I knew, I loved him. You know.
I'm proud of you guys.
You just kicked ass
Keep playing
that
hard,
last
okay?
time.
I know.
Have fun, guys. I'll see you at the reunion.
All right.
I want to give you a hand.
You got it, Jeff. Thank you. I appreciate
Take it on your own. Hey, hate to see you go, man. Pleasure.
Pleasure's mine, buddy. Really well. I'll see you later. I was kicking ass in this game. I swear to God. I don't want to be out of the game, but I don't want to lose my leg. I couldn't have tried any better. Couldn't have fought any harder. It was fun while it lasted.
I've seen every single medical evacuation, but there was something about yours that I really felt terrible that you had to leave the game. I can only imagine how you felt.
Yeah, I was really, really upset until I found out just how sick I was. I mean, she literally said, I don't remember if it was on camera or not, but she said, you're going to leave this game one way or another. And if you don't leave now, within 24 hours, you're not going to be able to walk out of this game. You're going to be in a hospital because you're going to be septic. And it's really, really dangerous. You know, you've got a major infection in your leg in the middle of the jungle. And I said, okay, I've got a wife and kids. I'm not an idiot, you know. So let's go. It's a long story, and all's well that ends well, because I had to play again.
Very true, and thankfully your leg is doing fine.
My leg is fine. It's a little numb right on the skin, right where that stitching was, but my leg is fine. Thank you very much.
And before we move on to Survivor Philippines, I want to point out that this year, 2018, marks the 10th anniversary of Survivor Micronesia as it premiered back in 2008.
That's right. I'm much older, but not that much older than you are. That was half a lifetime ago for you.
Right, exactly.
That was only 20% of my life.
Well, if you look at it that way, you're absolutely right. Now, 4 years later in 2012, Survivor Philippines aired. And my first question in regards to that season is, when you got the call asking if you would like to come and play Survivor again, were you told that 3 former castaways, all of whom had been medically evacuated on their previous season, would be returning to the game?
No.
So were you told it was an all-star season?
No, I wasn't told anything. I assumed there would be other returning players, but that's all I knew. You know, I'm not really plugged into the Survivor world. I probably put out a few calls and said, you know, hey, yo, I got a call. Did you get a call? And he's probably said, no. I mean, that's who I would have called. So I certainly didn't know Scoopin', and I certainly didn't know Russell Swan.
Going into the game as a returning player and the only returning player on a 6-person tribe, were you afraid that you would have an immediate target on your back and could be the first voted out of your tribe simply because you had played the game 2 times before?
I knew there would be a target on my back, but I also knew that I would be a valuable player for somebody to play with. Unfortunately, yet again, nobody trusted that they could play with me. And so I wound up having to play a kind of wild swinging game to try to find anybody to align with. And by the time that worked out, I was tired and made a mistake.
Were you happy that you made it to day 30 as a returning player, or were you a bit mad that you only made it to day 30 as a returning player on Philippines?
Of course I was mad. I should have won that game. And if I had recognized what's right in front of my face, instead of being too tired to look around, I would have won that game. And the truth is that instead of saying, okay, I survived all that, now I can just take a break for a day or two and rethink where I'm at, I should have said, okay, now is the most crucial, dangerous part of the game. Let's play this exactly correctly. And I made some cardinal mistakes, and of course I deserved to lose.
Well, I was certainly rooting for you to win Survivor Philippines all the way up until when your torch was snuffed by Jeff and you whistled off into the jungle.
Penner, we're tied. 3 votes Denise, 3 votes Penner, 1 vote left. 12th person voted out and the 5th member of our jury. Penner, need to bring me your torch.
Yeah.
Fun.
Bye. Can I have a hug too?
Yeah, no, I'm not going to hug anybody else.
Oh, okay.
Penner, Travis spoke. Time for you to go.
That sucks, Jeff. Guys, keep your sunny side up and suck eggs.
Yeah, thanks, pal. I appreciate that. It would have been great. And as I say, I really do believe it was mine to lose. But half of winning is not making any mistakes. It's like when you're playing tennis. If you can just hit the ball back, the other guy's going to lose. And if you can play in Survivor and just not get voted out and not make any mistakes, you might win. Not necessarily win, but you have a chance at winning. The people who lose Survivor are the folks who make a mistake, whatever that is, social, gameplay, step on a stick. I don't know.
Speaking of stepping on a stick, going back to Micronesia, the challenge that you got hurt on, that was a particularly rough challenge, and you weren't the only one that got hurt. You know, you had Parvati, who had a busted up lip. Amy sprained her ankle. After going through that challenge and you saw your leg, did you immediately think, wow, this might be bad? I might be going down harm's way in terms of the game?
No, I actually thought it wasn't a big deal. And the truth is, it shouldn't have been a big deal. I had hurt my other leg a day or two before. It's not really on the show, but I had cut my leg open and had no problem with it. Whereas when I got jabbed, yeah, it hurt. But the story is that I got jabbed and we won the prize, which was food. I had a brand new tribe. Usually they do a head fake. It's going to be a challenge. It's not a challenge. Drop your buffs. Whereas here was, we're going to switch things up and the winner gets some food and the losing tribe has a new tribe and no food. There was such torrential rain that they had to delay the start of the challenge. It still was a slippery disaster, as you say, injured 3 or 4 people. Chet got his face bashed in because of that that he was playing with. But the day got longer and longer. By the time we had won, it was already deep into the afternoon. They wanted to check my leg out, and I said, please, let's go back to the beach. I'll put off dealing with my leg until we get there, and then these guys can cook and have some real food. You know, I thought this was a heroic thing to do. And we got back to the beach. It got darker and darker. And by the time the paramedics came to address my leg, it was already quite dark. They used some saline solution to wash it out, but they didn't do a very good job. And then they stitched it closed, and there was in my leg.
And as they say, the rest is Survivor history. So one of my favorite Penner moments, now I have a lot of favorite Penner moments, but near the top of the list is your jury speech during the final tribal council of Survivor Philippines. I think it's one of the best jury speeches in Survivor history, and I can't even count how many times I've gone back and rewatched that clip. So my question is, going into that final tribal council, was your jury speech already planned and you had thought about what you were going to say, or was that a spur of the moment, driven by emotion speech?
No, I had it planned. I'd been in Ponderosa. We had access to pen and paper. We had nothing but time and bitterness. So I had a good chance to work on my little speech.
Well, I'm glad you wrote it out and you spoke what you wrote, because I think it's fantastic.
Thank you. It was interesting because I did it and got a big round of applause from the jury as we're all sitting there, and they let me go last. Probst wanted my little piece to be the last bit, and the other jurors all applauded. And then when we were at the actual taping of the finale, when they're showing the last episode and the final tribal, and I'm watching it or listening to it actually backstage with all the other players and listening to the audience's reaction. And I'm waiting for, after I give my speech, for the audience to applaud the way that the jury had. And there was stone silence. And I realized that I had gone too far, at least for the audience. They thought that I was just too bitter. It was too harsh, especially to Denise. And it did not play, at least in the CBS television city, in the way that it had played in the Philippines.
Well, it's interesting that you say that Jeff wanted your speech last. So I've always wondered this. Going into the final tribal council, your seating on the jury bench does not reflect the order in which you come up and speak. So do the producers know, for the most part, what each person is going to say or ask, and that's what determines the order in which the jury addresses the castaways?
Well, they have some sense. Yeah, they're trying to craft a TV show, so they have a sense of who's going to vote for who, and you don't have to tell them. You can say, I haven't decided yet, or you can say, oh, hell yes, I'm going to vote for Denise, but I'm going to say this, that, and the other thing. So they have a chance to say, oh, Penner's got something pretty good, and Carter has something less good, or whatever it is. Nothing against Carter, I don't remember what he said. But they're crafting a TV show, and in the same way that they always pick who's going to sit next to who for the most drama in the tribal, they pick the order that they're going to have you speak. Although the tribals have changed a lot, right, even since then. They don't do that anymore.
Right, because now Final Tribal is an open forum discussion where anyone can speak at any time, instead of actually having each jury member stand up and ask one question or say one statement to the final two or the final three. So before we get to the game, I always like to ask this question to former Survivor players who come on the game show. Who do you still keep in touch with from the seasons that you played?
Not too many people, although if I heard from any of those folks, I'd be happy to talk to them. Yul and I have seen each other a couple of times. I like him and his family very much. I saw Scoop in before the season aired, and I actually spoke to him once or twice as the case was coming down. He called me. He wanted some advice, and I told him to get a lawyer, basically. I had not spoken to him in a couple of years. Lisa Welchel and I saw each other a couple of times when the season was airing. And I'm in touch, like, on Facebook with Denise and Abby Marie. I've been in touch with Mike Holloway. I mean, people who have played in other seasons I've certainly been in touch with. That's about it, really. I mean, there are a lot of survivors in L.A., so if you go to a Survivor party, you're going to run into people, or you're going to meet people that you never met before, which is really fun.
And you're an L.A. man now, but I know for many years you were a New Yorker.
For many years, I was born and bred in New York, and my father certainly is. My mother moved there when she was 6 from Austria, and my wife is from Plainview, Long Island.
Long Island represent. Well, Penner, we have reached my favorite portion of the game show. It's time for the game of the day.
Game of the day.
And as I mentioned earlier, it's only fitting that we play a Survivor-themed game. So, Penner, get ready to play a game I like to call the Three Timers Club. The Three Timers Club.
Three Timers Club. All right, I'm going to put you on speaker because my daughter's just walked in so she can listen too.
Sure, absolutely.
19 years old.
Hi.
Hello, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm on the Survivor radio game show.
Oh my God, no way.
Yeah, and we're about to play a game with your dad, and if you'd like, you can help your father try to win this game.
Well, I don't know if I'll be of much help, but I'll try.
What's your name?
I'm Ava.
Ava, so nice to meet you. I'm Bradley.
Nice to meet you too.
And you are on the game show. And here is how the game works. Every correct answer will be the name of a former Survivor castaway that played the game 3 times. Now, I'm going to read you 3 Survivor placements, and it's going to be in the order of when they played. So their first placement, then their second, and their third. If you can name the player just by those placements, you'll score 2 points. However, if you can't, I will then give you the seasons in which they played on to go along with those placements. Then
And then you get 1 point.
And then you'll get 1 point. Very good, very good. Now, in order to win, your goal is to score at least 6 points by the end of the 10 names. So those are all the rules. Penner and Ava, let's play the 3 Timers Club. Here comes your first 3 placements. Their first Survivor placement was 6th place, then they won, and then they came in 2nd place. So 6th place, winner, 2nd place.
We agree it's Parvati.
Poverty Shallow.
And I will agree with you that you are correct. It is Parvati Shallow.
Yay!
Ava is so excited. I'm excited. It's more of an internal excitement.
You have 2 points. Excellent beginning. And here comes your next 3 placements. They first came in 5th place, then they came in 7th place, and then they came in 8th place. So 5th place, 7th place, 8th place.
Well, let's think. It's not Ozzy and it's not Serene.
Malcolm?
Malcolm came in 4th, first time he played. James? No, James went further than that in the beginning. Terry Dietz didn't play that many times. Boston Rob won. He played 4 times. Not Serene, not Amanda.
Do you want me to give you the 3 season names?
Yeah, right.
Okay, so here are the 3 seasons this castaway played on. Survivor Redemption Island, Survivor Karamoan, and Survivor Game Changers.
Oh, God.
I have no, it's
Neither
one of
do
those later people that I don't know.
You don't know?
It was
Shelley.
somebody named Shelley. It was Jenna Moran.
No.
I don't know. No idea.
It's actually Andrea Belkey.
That was my second guess.
I like Andrea a lot, and I don't know that I would have guessed it.
No harm, no foul. You still have your 2 points.
I'm trying a little bit on the inside.
Don't worry, here comes your next 3 placements. They first came in 2nd place, then they came in 12th place, then they came in 5th place.
Sorry for all of your listeners who are like, are you stupid? Are you insane? How could you not know it was? Anyway, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize at all. That's why I have the season titles, so you can still earn some points. All right, here are the 3 seasons the castaway played on. Survivor the Australian Outback, Survivor All-Stars, Survivor Heroes vs. Villains.
Colby.
Colby Donaldson is correct for 1 point. You're now up to 3 points, which means you are halfway to a win, so keep it up. Here come your next 3 placements. They first came in 2nd place, then they came in 3rd place, then they came in 17th place.
It's got to be Russell.
For 2 points, Russell Hance is the correct answer.
Okay, I feel a little like I've been on Redemption Island.
That's right, it was Samoa, Heroes vs. Villains, and Redemption Island. And for those of you who are saying that Russell played 4 times, he played 3 times in America and 1 time in Australia, so he's still only a 3-time player.
He played in
America.
Australia, really?
He was just on Australian Survivor. They did almost like what they're doing now with David versus Goliath. They did champions versus contenders. Brad fact.
If you don't know me, you've been living under a rock for the last 10 years. I'm the greatest player the world has ever seen. I've been trying to win this game for the last 10 years. All that goes through my head is survival. I am the master manipulator. I am the idol king. It's amazing how good I am at this game. I'm the first person to ever find an idol without clues. I've played with the best in the world, and I put them in their place. And now I'm playing with a bunch of newbies, a bunch of people that may not even know who I am. That blows my mind. They don't know what's about to hit them. They have no clue what is looming.
How did he do?
He was voted out 2nd.
I'd go to Australia, though. Why not?
Shut up.
They didn't ask me.
It's very interesting because there's 24 people and it was 50 days.
What?
Wow.
That's crazy. Okay.
Here we go. Ready for the next place?
One more.
They first came in 5th place, then they came in 12th place, then they came in 2nd place. 5th, 12th, and 2nd. Now, you only need 1 point, so would you like to just go for the 1 point and I'll give you the names of the seasons?
Go ahead. Name the place.
All right, so the seasons are Survivor Tokensheens, Survivor Heroes vs. Villains, and Survivor South Pacific.
Oh, jeez. I don't know.
James?
No, it's not James. It's actually Coach Wade.
Coach.
Oh, Coach, if he hears this, he's going to be so disappointed in me. Sorry, Coach. I like Coach.
But that's okay. Let's go on to the next name, all right?
Okay. Audience members, are any of you still with me?
They're
or
all
have you given up hope?
They're all here. Don't worry.
I've heard the sound of radios getting turned off all across America.
No. They're getting louder. All right, here we go. You still only need 1 point. Here comes your next 3 placements.
Okay, let's see if I can make it. This is how I play Survivor. You see, I really do well, and then I crater.
Well, I have faith in you that you'll win a game.
Thank you.
They first came in 4th place, then they came in 9th place, then they came in 17th place.
Now, Ava's saying Malcolm. She just loves Malcolm.
I love Malcolm.
Well, Ava, I'm glad that you love Malcolm because Malcolm is the correct answer.
Yay!
Which means the Penner family has won the 3 Timers Club.
Yay! Well done, Penners.
Great job, Penners, indeed.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
And next time you have that game, you hold us up against whoever you're going to play with. You'll show them the Penners are the best.
That's right. For future 3-time castaways to come on, I will play the same game with them and see if you do better.
Right, and see if they've listened to this show so they know the answers.
Well, no, I have more cards and I can always create some more.
That's why you're the pro.
That's right, I am the professional. You remember that. Well, Penner and Ava, thank you so much for playing the game.
The pleasure has been mine. That was Ava, too.
And that was the game of the day, the 3 Timers Club. The 3 Timers Club. Well, Penner, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the game show to talk about Survivor. And thank you to Ava as well for joining in on the fun.
We had a great time. It was very kind, and thanks for taking me on a stroll down memory lane. I appreciate it.
You are very welcome, and you always have an invitation to come back onto the game show as my special guest.
Well, you give me a call anytime you want to talk, and we'll talk some more.
That sounds great. And again, thank you so much. I've had so much fun playing the game and talking with you about Survivor.
Thanks, Bradley. It was a pleasure.
All right. Take care, and I hope to speak with you again soon.
See you on the island, Bradley.
I'll see you on the island. You know it.
Okay, cheers, man.
All right. Bye-bye. Well, the time slot is spoken, and it's time for me to go. But it's been another great episode of the game show. So once again, thank you to my special guest, 3-time Survivor castaway, Jonathan Penner. And also, a special thanks to Ava Penner for joining her father on the line to play and win the 3 Timers Club. I hope you had as much fun as I did. However, as you know, the game show really never ends because you can check out my previous episodes of the game show, including the episodes featuring former Survivor castaways Russell Hantz and Eric Reichenbach as my special guests, by logging on to www.soundcloud.com/Bradley_Clarke, that's BRADLEY_CLARKE/sets/the game show. That's www.soundcloud.com/Bradley_Clarke. That's BRADLEY_CLARKE/sets/the game show. Plus, don't forget to like The Game Show starring Bradley Clarke on Facebook and follow The Game Show starring Bradley Clarke on Twitter using the handle @TheGameShowBC and #TheGameShow. And of course, be sure to tune in next time for another exciting episode of The Talk Show, all about the world of television game and competition shows, The Game Show. I'm Bradley Clarke, the Bradster, and I've got to go take my seat at the jury bench. Bye for now. All of the Survivor clips, sounds, and music used during this episode of the game show are courtesy of the CBS Television Network.
This edition of the game show was created and produced by Bradley Clarke and was recorded at the WRHU studios. This is Austin Angelo speaking.
The Game Show is a Bradley Clarke production. Get your game on.